The year is 1990. I'm in Mr. West's 7th grade gym class at Southern Lehigh Middle School in Center Valley, Pennsylvania, when he says, "All right, kids, I want you all to line up on this blue line. When I blow the whistle, I want you to run down to the other side of the gym class and touch the wall, and then come back. The first 10 kids to finish will be called the rabbits. The next 10 kids, the bunnies. And the last 12 kids, the turtles." I stand in that line, waiting for that whistle to blow. I knew that I'd be a rabbit, or at worst, a bunny. On your mark, get set, go. I take off running. I get down to the other side. I touch the wall, and as I turn around, it's as though I have a parachute on the back of me. That's how slow I am. I finish the race, and I'm a turtle. Before I had time to even think about that, Mr. West blows the whistle. "All right, line up, let's run it again." Standing there, okay, let's do this. I take off running again, touch the wall, and again, the same result. I finish almost dead last. Embarrassed, I didn't want to make eye contact with anyone. I didn't want them to ask me, "What group are you in, John?" So I just kept my head down. It worked. The class was over and a few days had passed and no one had asked me what I was. I went into the gym class 3 days later, and there on the wall were 3 pieces of paper with a big bold-faced print on it saying, "Rabbits, bunnies, and turtles." And right underneath turtles was John C. Graybill II. How was I going to hide that? Not only that, it was only a matter of time before the entire middle school knew that I was a turtle. Just then, Mr. West blows the whistle and says, "All right, all the turtles line up." I get on the line. All right, here we go. I take off running. I get down the other side, I touch the wall, and as I make my way back to the finish line, there, standing, pointing, and laughing at me was Justin. I finished the race, not knowing what was so funny. I walk over to him and he says, "You run like a girl." Standing there, I didn't know what to say. No one ever told me that before. I did the only thing I could do. I said, "Uh-uh." "Hey, Jim, Mike, come on over here. Check this out. John runs like a girl." And he started twirling his legs out to the side and fanning his arms around like a real girly girl running. I just walked away. Some time had passed, and Mr. West again blew the whistle and said all the turtles to come up. And I could hear over the back of my shoulder, I could hear Justin say, "Hey, watch John, he runs like a girl." Standing on the line, I tell myself, "John, whatever you do, don't run like that. Pull your legs in tight, keep your arms in tight, just run. You can do this." Mr. West blows the whistle, I take off running, I touch the wall, and as I turn around to make my way to the finish, I look up. And there are now 3 people laughing at me. That day, I made a decision that I would never ever run again in front of my peers. And for the next 5 years, I did exactly that. I didn't run. But I also beat myself up. "John, you're no good. You're a loser. People make fun of you. You run like a girl." That was a tough time. One day in 1995, my mom had asked me to move a couch. I bent over, I grabbed the bottom of the couch, and I tried to lift it, but I couldn't lift it up. I thought my back was weak, and so I decided I'll squat down and grab it and pick it up that way. Again, I couldn't lift up the couch. My mom felt that as a 17-year-old young man that I should be able to do these things, so she made an appointment with her doctor to find out why I couldn't. When our doctor couldn't figure anything out, he referred us to a specialist at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. It was there, after a half a day of testing, when I found out I was wrong. Sitting in the office, the doctor comes in. Mr. and Mrs. Graybill, we have found out what's wrong with your son. He has what you call limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. It's a genetic disease in which he inherited 2 mutated genes from you both. This gene is responsible for a muscle protein. And because this is mutated, his muscles get weaker and over time smaller, to the point where he won't be able to do anything on his own. He'll be dependent on you, someone to take care of him. He'll be in a wheelchair. There is no treatment and there is no cure. We're sorry. Sitting there at 17, my whole life felt over. I had no future. I didn't think who would marry me. I wouldn't have any kids. What job would I do? I'd live with my parents the rest of my life. And my mom knew that that was a tough day for me, and so she wanted to help her only son, and she knew just the man who could do this. He was known as the father of motivation, and he was giving a talk at Cedar Crest College in Allentown, Pennsylvania that summer. So she said, we're going to go. When that day came, I didn't want to. I wanted to spend the day with my girlfriend at the time, but my mom knew that if there was one person who could help me, it was this man. His name was Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. Sitting there that day, 2 things came to me. And the first one was, you need to love yourself. And I didn't love myself. I felt that my life was over given that diagnosis. But hearing him talk, I knew that my future, my life, was still ahead of me. I felt I wanted to go to college. I wanted to do what Wayne Dyer had done to me. Gave me hope that there was a future for me. So I wanted to study psychology. So in 1997, I attended Kutztown University of Pennsylvania. And it was there that I met Erica. Erica was outgoing, funny, confident, everything that I was not. We started dating. I didn't tell her that I had muscular dystrophy. I didn't want her to not want to date me because of that. It was after some time, we were out together and I had to walk up the steps, and at the time it was very difficult for me to go upstairs. I had to grab on the railing with one hand and put my hand on my thigh and push up. And she had asked me, what's wrong? Now I thought to myself, do I lie to this woman? Do I tell her that I was in a car accident or I had a bad back? I decided no, I needed to be honest. I needed to be honest for her, and I also needed to be honest to myself. So I told her I have limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. She didn't seem concerned. That wasn't until I didn't hear from her for a few days. I finally got a hold of her and I said, is everything okay? And she said, John, I don't want to date you anymore. I don't know if in 5 years you'll be in a wheelchair or not. But what I had heard her say was, John, you're no good. For the next 10 years, I decided I'm not going to date anybody. I withdrew myself and doubted myself. And then I remember Wayne Dyer said, it starts with loving yourself. I had to stop hiding myself. And I knew only one way to do that. And it was YouTube. I was tired of hiding and lying to people about myself, and so I thought the only way that I can overcome this is to throw myself off the bridge. So I had my friends or family record me, walking, getting up from a chair, getting up from the floor, anything you can imagine, so that I could show people this is what muscular dystrophy is. It was there that I met Chris. Chris was in her 60s and she lived in Michigan. She was surfing the internet and she found me. And she reached out to me and she said to me, John, I've never contacted anyone with this disease before, and I don't know why I'm contacting you, but I am. And so in 2010, we established a friendship. And it was at the end of that summer where she said to me, John, I'm going to Brazil to see a healer by the name of John of God. Would you like to go? Now, I had heard of John of God when I was first diagnosed. He's a Brazilian healer who millions of people have gone to see over the years. And I didn't know if I'd ever go see him, but I didn't know if I would, I didn't know if I wouldn't go. But here was this opportunity. And so I said, yes, I'll go. I really thought that in 3 weeks' time, I would be healed. I would come back and be running and doing all the things that I did as a child. And at the end of those 3 weeks, I sat there at the overlook looking out at the countryside, and I was not healed. But this thought had come to me. And this thought was, what if this disease is here to teach you something? What if it's here to teach you to love yourself, to have compassion for yourself, to understand yourself better? Not only that, maybe it's here to teach other people those qualities and much more. In that moment, I felt at peace with myself. On that trip, I also met a woman named Darcy. Now, Darcy was there not for physical healing, but for spiritual healing. And over the course of 3 weeks, we talked and we established a friendship. At the end, she moved back to Colorado, and I was living in Pennsylvania. We started to do the long-distance dating. After 1 year, she asked me, John, what are we? What are we doing? We were both in our mid to late 30s. Nothing really holding me back in Pennsylvania. I decided, well, I've got nothing to lose. So in August of 2012, I moved out to Colorado Springs. And it was in February of 2015 we got married. And in January of 2016, we had our first child. The second thing that Wayne Dyer taught me at that speech was when he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.